Welcome, crippled foster kids who are living the dream, to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we are going to start our review of some of the film, the good. All right, so there's not a whole lot of good, but a whole lot of bad in the DCEU, the DC Extended Universe.
They never officially called it that, but whatever. It's convenient.
He is in there for some reason or another. Instead of it just being the DCU or the DCCU, the DC Cinematic Universe.
Or the DC Film Universe, DCFU.
Which is primarily what most of these movies are. A big FU.
Well, yeah, I mean, up until Wonder Woman, that's pretty much all they were.
Yeah, but we are not talking about any of those today. If you've clicked on this, you obviously know what we're talking about.
We're talking about Captain Twinkle-Fingers.
Twinkle-Fingers. Yes, we are talking about the 2019 Shazam. Yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
Okay.
In my opinion, this is the best movie that the DCEU put out.
I would actually agree.
My favorite.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because it does, it's very natural in how it handles its humor, balances it with the action, balances it with the fact that it is a comic book movie and you have to hit certain beats.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very enjoyable. What I like about it is that it doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, this seemed to be the first movie. I mean, they started getting it with Wonder Woman, but this is the first movie where they were really just like, fuck it, let's have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And they do. This movie is so much fun. My kids watched it this weekend for the first time, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And my daughter really does not like DC movies all that much. She enjoyed Wonder Woman, but she has no interest in seeing Man of Steel or BVS. I'm not cruel enough to show her Suicide Squad.
Fair enough.
But this movie does it strikes a really good chord, and it's one of these movies I'm very pleasantly happy to say I was wrong about. I really thought this movie, and let's be honest, this movie could have been an unmitigated disaster.
Oh yeah.
I was not won over by the outfit. I felt it looked like the same thing that like the meet and greet Gastons at the Magic Kingdom wear, with the padded knuckles and everything.
I was iffy on the look until I actually saw the first trailer, and I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm getting it.
I wasn't really sold. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I wasn't sold on this movie until I saw it.
Oh, okay.
So it was a labor for me to go see it, and I believe this was my birthday movie. Thank you.
Yes, it was.
And it was a pleasant surprise how much I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah, for me, pretty much from the first trailer, I was like, okay, I get it. I'm on board for this. And when I first saw it, and I was just like, I was hoping to have a fun time. I wasn't expecting to have as much fun as I genuinely did. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, for me, the only reason I put this above Wonder Woman is that Wonder Woman kind of dropped it on the third act.
It couldn't stick the landing in the third act, and
it started getting a little bit too overblown.
Yeah, the thing with Wonder Woman is, and maybe this will be one of the 4 that we discussed this month. The thing with Wonder Woman, or actually it might be 3 this month, whatever, we'll figure it out. The thing with Wonder Woman is that it's so top heavy in its presentation and really in how good it is. I mean, that second act where you get the no man's land scene is phenomenal, but the problem is that it's a straight shoot down.
Yeah. Now, for me, I think the especially the no man's land scene that scene alone is better than anything in Shazam. But the movie as a whole, Shazam has more highs and fewer lows.
Shazam stays the course.
Yes.
It maintains an upper flat line better than Wonder Woman did, where you see that steep drop. And the other thing with this movie too is that while Wonder Woman is a good movie, it's not particularly enjoyable in terms of just an overall like fun go to the movies and just have a good time, enjoy your popcorn. Shazam does that.
Yeah.
In spades, it does it.
Yeah, Wonder Woman was still kind of holding on to that kind of angsty feel that the previous DCEU movies had. This one is first one.
Snyder was the producer on.
Yeah, this one was like, let's get rid of all that. Let's just have a whole lot of fun, and they do.
And it is. Not only is it unbelievably fun, but you actually really get to feel for the people in Billy's life.
Yeah.
The fact that he's being brought up by in a foster family by two amazing foster parents.
Yes.
And I love how they engender a sense of family that, this is your permanent family now, where, we're all here for each other.
I mean, that's actually, that whole tone of family, it is throughout the entire movie. It is the core of this movie, but it's never like throw it in your face like this is what it's about. It's naturally it's natural progression of the movie. That's how it works.
Yeah, no, it does. It progresses naturally. Unlike something like The Flash, the TV show The Flash, which is essentially it's The Flash and his team of guys in the chair.
Well, it starts getting out of that in like the second or third season, but
Right, yeah. But still, because the thing is that Freddy is such a great, he's really, because he's so smart with superheroes, it really feels like a natural, pairing.
Yeah.
Not so much for Billy, but for when he is Shazam, when he's Zachary Levi, he and Freddy they're amazing together.
And Jack Dylan Grazer is amazing in this movie.
He's a lot of fun. He doesn't get annoying. None of the kids got annoying in this thing, which is a feat.
Yeah,
this many preteen children,
especially someone like Darla, which you think that when you first start off with Darla, you're like, she's a hugger. It's like, okay, this is gonna go old fast, but there's something just so innocent and charming about her that you always want to see more of her. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm a big fan of hers. The interesting thing is how they tie this to the overreaching DCEU story arc. That this is, that they have the thing like the Batarang is actually a Batarang, is a Batfleck Batarang. The bullet. The bullet that bounced off of Superman. The fact that they actually used the Man of Steel suit at the end of the movie, all just ties things together. But at the same time, this movie doesn't need to rely on any of that.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of callbacks, which is admirable for a movie that realistically you're going into Guardians of the Galaxy territory in terms of finding like that obscure or more obscure character.
Yeah, they drop enough hints to let you know, this is part of that those are all going around this movie, but this movie is its own thing. It's set in Philadelphia.
It's in Philadelphia, as opposed to one of these made up cities that every DC character is the sentinel of. Yeah,
there's no Gotham, there's no Metropolis. It's just Philadelphia. They're downtown Philadelphia, born and raised.
Right. On the playground is where he spent most of his days.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's the interesting thing too, is that there's quite a bit of the Philadelphia feel to this movie, because every movie that takes place in a major city, there's usually a little bit of a travelogue in there. Starting with the Geno's sub, the bag with for the Geno's world famous steak and cheese subs, and the Rocky Steps.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they actually play a fairly good role in this one.
They do. Let's take a minute to talk about Zachary Levi, because the decision to really use the boy in the man's body plays out really well here, and Zachary Levi was a perfect casting choice for this.
Yeah, the comparison to calling this big with superheroes is not a long shot. It is pretty much on the nose.
Yeah, and considering too, this is not how he's portrayed in the comic books.
Yeah.
Shazam has always been portrayed as, you know, he's a little boy until he says the magic words, and then, you know, he's not a child
Right.
at
Well,
all.
I think they started going more that route in the New 52.
Yeah, but it's the New 52.
I don't mind. I like the New 52. Yeah. I know. I know.
But yeah, but again, the movie handles his character really, really well, and I love I love that this movie is very similar to Spider-Man: Homecoming in the fact that he's still kind of learning about his abilities. He doesn't figure out how to fly until almost the end of the movie.
I like the fact that it, like, you know, most of the time with movies where you've got like a kid and an adult kind of main characters, the kid's given all like the kid storyline and the adult's given the more the adult storyline. They swap that one on the Asher Angel, who does a fantastic job as Billy Batson.
Yeah,
he's got a lot more of the heavy, more dramatic storylines. I mean, the scene with his mother is just it's heartbreaking.
It absolutely is heartbreaking. But I love that they're able to take you out of that almost immediately because you do have to get back to the story.
Yeah.
And one of the best shots in the movie is right after that scene with his mother, where he jumps off the roof and just like, he's got his arms out and he just shouts Shazam and just flies, gets hit and flies off.
It's wonderful.
That scene is very reminiscent of the scene in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. With Miles doing the upward fall.
Yeah.
Here comes danger fall. It's very, very similar to that in my opinion. But yeah, Zachary Levi is so much fun to watch in this. And I never watched Chuck. So
I watched like the first season.
Yeah. But I know him as Flynn Rider, and he did a long second season arc on the the Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Oh, okay.
And he's a lot of fun in that. And it's funny because I always think of him as being kind of a goof, but he's a really handsome goof, and it works really well for the character. I love that scene in the convenience store.
Oh,
after they figure out, it's like, what can we? They get $70. What are we gonna do? I like to purchase some of your finest beer, please, because that's what you would do. If you're an underage kid and now you're in the body of an adult, you would go buy beer. And I love that they hated it.
And I love the when they do get like robbed and they shoot him, it bounces off. He's like, "You're a good bullet movie, but was it the suit or no? Shoot him in the face! Shoot him in the face!" Because they're just, they don't know the powers, so they're just having fun with it.
Right.
Exactly what kids would do if you suddenly had superpowers.
Yeah. It really works. I mean, Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah. I'm happy they didn't go the comic book route with Savannah, because Savannah in the comic book is like this dwarf with this enormous head. But he's a criminal genius, but he has no superpowers.
Yeah.
The fact that they essentially made him the anti-Shazam,
basically,
the one that went to the temptation and then was obsessed with gaining its powers.
I mean
that is, that's incredible.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And I do have to definitely credit the director David Sandberg. He uses the Seven Deadly Sins very, very effectively. They're always just kind of like in the dark until the very the end climax. But the scene in the boardroom, that is a genuinely terrifying scene.
And that's like one of those things that if I have to knock the movie at all, is that sometimes its tone turns a little too fast. I mean, it eventually rights itself. But it's not like it's just like a quick, 30-second thing. And that scene went on for, I think, about 2.5 minutes, and it is genuinely terrifying. And then you're back to Billy learning how to use his superpowers. It's that there are some adjustments in tone that don't work. No movie is perfect.
But I mean, you can definitely tell that David Sandberg got cut his teeth with horror, much like Scott Derrickson in Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, exactly. And now Sam Raimi in Doctor Strange too.
Well, I think they're still in talks.
Yeah. Okay. So, no,
unless you're watching this after they've been approved, in which yay, in which or he's turned it down, in which case, oh well.
Nah. Now the interesting thing is going to be if they do actually do Black Adam for the next movie, because again, just like the Flash, because I kind of feel like I'm just going to keep going back to this. It's like with the Flash, every season your big bad is a speedster, just like him. It's just like there's always that mirror universe villain, the bad version of themselves.
Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket.
You technically had Savannah as the mirror universe Shazam in this one, and then you're going to get Black Adam, who's essentially the same thing.
Yes, but it's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. According to everything, it is Dwayne Johnson. He produced this one. He has a production credit, so which I think more than solidifies that they will be bringing him in. I mean, they haven't started rolling cameras yet.
No,
this movie was a moderate hit.
It was actually.
It was a modest hit, actually. I know that the overall numbers don't look fantastic, but considering it was made on practically a shoestring budget compared, I mean, Justice League cost $300 million,
and it didn't make it back.
It needed to crack $1 billion to see any type of justifiable profit. BVS is the same thing. It needed to make $1 billion. Wonder Woman came close to making $1 billion. Aquaman did make $1 billion, which still blows my mind.
It was a fun enough movie. I don't fault it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Shazam was made for what, about $85 million?
I'm on Wikipedia right here. Budget is 80 to 100 million, and the box office 366.
366. So modest hit.
Yeah.
Again, you take the rule of three times the production budget to see that. So it exceeded its 3 times production budget.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually brought in some money, which is nice. It can justify a sequel, and I know that because of the shift in tone with other DCEU movies, the hardcores didn't like this. Really pointed at $300 million and said, "Ha ha, your movie's a failure," which it's not.
No. It made its money back, and it kind of proved to the critics and audience that what, DC movies can have a lot of fun, and I think
they're allowed to have fun.
Yeah,
I think the big thing. This was a permission slip.
Yeah.
For them to actually go out and enjoy life for a change.
And from what I hear about,
they used a color palette.
Yeah.
It wasn't all reds and sepias,
Yeah.
So,
and, from what I hear about, Birds of Prey, I'm still not going to go see it because I have issues with the title, but from what I hear, it's still a lot of fun.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And again, it's just that's the thing with Warner Brothers, and I'm happy that in terms of Shazam they didn't do this, but Warner Brothers has a very bad habit of stepping on their own dicks. They have done it time and time and time again. Do you remember how long it took them to greenlight a Wonder Woman sequel after it was a bona fide hit?
Yeah. They are a very reactionary studio, which
they are. And with Birds of Prey, the mere fact that they're retitling it. And this isn't, and it was interesting too, because I read an article saying this isn't the first time they've done this. They did this with Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, that's the title that they put on all the DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yeah, exactly. And originally it was Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, and it was supposed to it's based on the story All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah,
which I think would have been a better one.
Yeah,
whatever.
But it's reactionary. The thing with Birds of Prey and why it did not do well on its opening weekend, I still chalk it up to that trailer.
Yeah,
for me, watching that trailer just felt like, oh, you like Deadpool? Well, here's Margot Robbie.
Yeah, the trailers in general, the marketing on it did not do well at all, and it reflected that.
Exactly, and it's not the kind of thing. The interesting thing is that Deadpool's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Deadpool was released on Valentine's Day weekend and did amazing because, first of all, it's Deadpool. People love Deadpool. The thing with Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, is that she's coming off of one of the worst movies that the DCEU put out.
Yeah,
and I really do need to talk about Suicide Squad in a subsequent discussion here.
Yeah. Yeah, I have my own opinions on that one.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
But she was the lone bright spot in that movie. But you don't build your entire that's almost like taking Taylor Kitsch and giving him a Gambit movie because he was one of the lone bright spots in X-Men Origins Wolverine. You know?
Yeah.
But with Shazam, I'm intrigued by a sequel. I'm a little worried about a sequel because I feel that it was helped by having a smaller budget and really lowered expectations. I think it's one of those movies that you enjoy it if your guard is down and you're not realizing you're going to have a great fucking time watching it.
I think I'm honestly, I wouldn't, for if they do a sequel, I wouldn't put the budget any higher than maybe 120. I'd still keep it fairly low, under the 150 mark, absolutely. Because 366, it's a profit. It's not something to write home about. But I mean, bringing Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam.
Yep.
And I mean, already this is very well thought of in general, in general public and DC fans. So
it's one of those movies that for especially for us comic book nerds that were burnt.
Yeah.
Time and time and time again by this goddamn series.
Yeah.
My only real fear, quite honestly, and I know it's not considered part of this, my biggest fear is that Joker is going to teach Warner Brothers all the wrong lessons going forward.
Yeah, it seems like they're writing the ship with Shazam, and then now Dark and Gritty is back.
Yep, Dark and Gritty is back for this one, and then it doesn't help that Birds of Prey, the miseducation of Harley Quinn, tanks. And now we're at the edge of our seats now, waiting to see if Wonder Woman 1984 is actually going to be any good.
Yeah,
I'm terrified. I'm legitimately terrified that if Wonder Woman is not good, or even all I want Wonder Woman to be is fun. I just want this 1984 to be fun, and I want to have that moment like I did with Deadpool and Deadpool 2. I want to have that moment where it's like, did I like this one better? I might have. I want that. I'm hoping I get that. I mean, as it is, we're going to have to deal with the shitstorm over the summer of too much color. It needs to be dark and gritty.
Well, to be fair, the images they've leaked that they've dropped for Wonder Woman 84 have been day-glow-tastic and a little bit too much for my taste.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If they're going with that like ultra high contrast color palette, that's going to be. Remember back in the days, Mike, before we started talking about color correction, and remember when we didn't notice it? Yeah. And now it's everywhere, especially in our beloved comic book movies. It's like there are these color palettes, and DC is essentially using mud sepia, and crayon box now.
Yeah. Sometimes in the same movie, sometimes in different movies.
Right. And then, Birds of Prey, which is crayon box fucked by a hobo. But yeah, I mean, overall, I love this movie. And we didn't even talk about, and this is the spoilery part of this. If you haven't watched Shazam, it's on HBO now. So for God's sakes, go watch it. I was not expecting.
Yeah.
All the kids. to become part of the Captain Marvel family.
Yeah, when they did the Marvel reveal, I was like, oh, okay, they kept this under wraps very well.
They did a
Congratulations.
phenomenal job.
And honestly, I liked it just as much as kids, when they were little and when they were big. I liked them both times. They really pulled off well.
Oh, it was surprising to me because, I've grown up with Shazam. I mean, child of the 70s, I had the cartoons.
And the
in the
Hobo
80s,
Van.
there was a Shazam cartoon in the 80s, and they actually had, it was, I think he was Captain Marvel Jr.
Yeah.
Which the timing, speaking of Captain Marvel, was insane. Because we all know the story. You know the story of how Fawcett Comics originally had Captain Marvel. He would just say Shazam.
Yeah, I know of it. It's a very confusing story.
Well, essentially, long story short, Fawcett went out of business, didn't renew the rights to Captain Marvel. Marvel found out, exploited the fact that they didn't have a Captain Marvel anymore, purchased the name Captain Marvel with the caveat that they had to constantly have a Captain Marvel, I think, annually showing up in their books to maintain the name.
Which is why after Captain Marvel died, he constantly came back as
Marvel
Ghost.
died. Yes, exactly. And Carol Danvers, who was Ms. Marvel, and then subsequently lost her powers to Rogue, became Binary, and then
Warbird.
Warbird, yeah. Then she became Captain Marvel again.
Right.
Even Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel for a while.
So they've always held that moniker around.
They've had that. They just had to keep using it. So now Shazam is just Shazam.
Which I think makes sense.
To a layperson, absolutely, it makes sense. I just find it funny that Shazam was released 1 month after
Captain Marvel.
in the same month as Captain Marvel. They're both released in March.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And the only ones that were having any big, huge issues with that were the comic book fanboys.
Yeah, the comic book fanboys who couldn't understand why, why is this woman Captain Marvel? And for a while on Twitter, I was actually getting tagged in these really toxic posts for no reason about the false Captain Marvel, and it was all about Brie Larson.
And then we got Brie Larson and Zachary Levi tweeting each other, "Hey, congratulations on the great movie! Congratulations on the box office! Yay!" So yay! I mean,
yay! Let's
all get along because
we're not dicks. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I love this movie. I implore you to watch this if you haven't seen it already. There were so many fun pieces in this movie, and it just goes to show how DC can function.
Yeah.
If their head is not built into the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this could lead to a very interesting cinematic universe. I mean, if you really want to, I mean, look at the history of the MCU. Where do we start? We started at Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man
and Thor. Okay, the Hulk. We have the Hulk, and then Captain America is getting closer to that A-list, but it took a little while for them to do that. Starting with a C-list hero like Shazam is really a good start. Again, it's just a question of, do they learn from these lessons, or are they now looking for the next Joker?
Yeah.
Which is going to be a huge fucking mistake.
Yeah, I mean, the Joker is not built to be a franchise.
No, well, according to Todd Phillips, it doesn't even have anything to do with Batman.
Which is why I've never seen the Joker, and I choose not to because I don't care.
I'm very angry with that movie. Anyway,
hey, good for it for making all the money. I just don't care about a Joker origin movie.
Yeah,
sorry.
You got anything else about
Shazam?
Sorry.
The final post-credit sequence where they're kind of making fun of talking to fish.
Yes, that was perfect.
And the next movie come out was Aquaman.
No, actually, Aquaman come out earlier.
Really?
December 2018.
Oh, still fun.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I have thoughts. Maybe we'll address them. Maybe we won't. So anyway, that was Shazam. What were your thoughts on this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where does it rank in terms of your favorite DCEU movies? And keep in mind that doesn't include Joker, but if I had my druthers, it would include Teen Titans Go to the Movies. That would be my number. That would be my number 2.
I still haven't seen that one.
You've got to watch that one, Mike.
Also, I think every movie should have a porn star named Sriracha in it.
Covered in glitter. Yay, glitter.
I want some glitter. No.
So anyway, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts. You can get us right on our website, geeksalad.podbean.com, or on the Podbean app for the full archive. You can also get us at iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Music, and iHeartRadio. You can also get the full audio here on our YouTube channel, Geek Salad Podcast, as well as these weekly movie reviews. A little housekeeping note: I will be traveling next week, so I intend on us being able to do one. How we're going to do it is beyond me. I'm probably going to do it off my phone. So if I look better, it's because of that. I look better than the overlighting in my basement,
and more hopefully a more reliable internet.
You know what? I'm not going to say anything because we're wrapping up right now. But this is the second week in a row we haven't had a freeze.
Yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised.
I have not dropped out yet. Now,
okay, yeah, funny.
So you can also follow us on the socials at Geek Salad Podcast on Facebook and at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter. Love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you can be notified whenever we put out new and interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about the DCEU for a little bit, and then in April we're going to talk Disney. I kind of feel like in May maybe we should go back and do some more Star Wars.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Mayhap. We never actually did a full review of Rise of Skywalker, so it'll be out on Blu-ray by then. That's usually my birthday. And
also next month we will probably have some guests for our
our Disney thing will be full of guests. I'm very excited. So so anyway, until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye. And broadcast.